Hello, good evening, and welcome. Welcome to the Belle Collective reunion, season 2 reunion recap. I cannot wait. You guys see, I am in my reunion looks, and I have my favorite girl diva, Brenda Alexander, is joining me. Let me bring her in. Hey, girl.
Hi, hi, hi.
I love the red sparkles.
Listen, I told you I had to go out and pull something out of my closet when I saw that you had on a gown. I was like, oh, this is this is what we're doing. Okay. So I put on some diamonds
I
and
see, I
put on
like.
something sparkly, but
Yes.
I
Yeah.
tried in 20 minutes, I think.
Well, yeah, I put this on to watch because I was like, let me put this on early so I can watch the episode. But I thought this was so cool for us to do this because you and I actually met because of Belle Collective.
Yes.
So we met, we went to Jackson. There we are with Richie. We hung out. We got to know the ladies.
Yes.
We went to Jackson State with them. It was a good time. So it's very fitting that we would come together again and talk about this reunion. So I see people joining the chat. If you guys are just joining, we are talking all about tonight's episode of season 2 of the Belle Collective reunion. First of all, what did you think about the reunion? Were you disappointed? Did it give what you thought it was supposed to give?
I thought that it was a solid start. It
Okay.
gave me way more than Atlanta gave me. So I was excited about that.
I'm not mad at that. Very true.
There,
Very
there
true.
was a lot of tea spilled that happened, behind the scenes with the whole Latrice and Marie, allegedly, with the whole
Right.
Latrice and Marie back and forth, and some things about Tambra and Ikeisha that happened prior to production.
Yeah.
So that was really good to find out. So I thought that it was a solid start. Hopefully the second part holds up as well.
Well, we talked about the fact that I knew Carlos was going to draw out that into the DNA test,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is why people were tuning in. To me, it's almost like Leticia and Glenn are kind of like the Mel and Martell of Belle Collective because their marriage really is one of the biggest storylines that people have tuned in to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see that. But before we get into talking about all that, I thought we would talk about the looks because we decided to bring our looks, but I want everybody to look at all the ladies, and then we're going to talk about our favorite looks and why.
Yeah, buddy.
That's a quick clip of everybody. So out of tonight's look, whose look was your favorite and why?
I actually loved Marie's. First of all, I think that I love when she does her naturally short hair. I've always loved that on women because I have like a smaller face, so I never thought that I could pull something like that off. I feel like I would look like an alien if I were to do that. And I thought that she gave a good balance of glamour with simplicity because a lot of times when you have these reunions, especially, Southern Belles, they're all about the sparkle. They're all
Yeah.
about the just everything.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to do the simple hair, makeup, and like the jewels, and then let the dress speak, I
Yes.
thought that was like bomb.
Yeah, I do think that Marie looks beautiful. I actually like this look more than I've really liked some of the looks this season. I thought it was hilarious when they likened her look to George Washington.
Yes, I
Um,
thought the same thing.
but for me, I gotta tell you, Latrice was my look of perfection.
Pretty and have money. I don't want to do shit else but be pretty and have money. I just want to be pretty and have money. I don't want to do shit else but be pretty and have money.
I love this. I love the hair. I thought the hair was perfect. I thought the dress with the feathers and the gloves. I mean, it was given a lot of drama, but I think it was flawless. I think she
Yeah,
was absolutely beautiful. Um, Now let's go to our worst look.
you can start.
First of all, I want to say I think everybody looked beautiful, but I think, and I like colors. One of the things I did like about Atlanta was that I love a theme. I love when everybody
Yes.
is in a theme.
When they're in sync.
Yes, it just makes for the aesthetic looks great. It looks great on camera. So I would say I did not like the color. I did not like the orange that Leticia had on. I didn't, and I also did not think that it was very complimentary. Her and Glenn just didn't. They did not look like they were on the same page. They're not, but it wasn't. That wasn't my. That was my least favorite look for the ladies, and for the guys, definitely JJ. But I love JJ's personality. You kind of have to like him because he's just so personable. But I just the yellow, and I'm not like it.
So my least favorite look for the ladies, I agree with you. I thought that it was Leticia.
Yeah.
And I was shocked too because I really thought that she brought it this season.
Yes.
The only reason why I say I do think that the color, like, I don't know if it drowned her out. I don't know how to describe it. I did not like the color, and I also thought that her hair fell flat. It, was just straight. It was flat. Glenn was actually my favorite look on the men.
Okay. Yeah.
I like to see chocolate men in like white or just like bright colors. And of course, JJ was the worst. The suit was loud. It was country, but I was thoroughly excited that he did not come with the 2 braids and the bally balls. So he gets a C. He doesn't fail.
He doesn't fail because he did improve. He did improve over the season. I agree with you. I think I liked Leticia's looks over the season much better than the first season, but I didn't like the hair. I didn't like that color. I thought it was very brassy, and then I think it also kind of clashed with the orange
dress.
I agree. Marie looked great. That dress was so pretty on her. That color, that green, bejeweled green, was really complimentary to her skin tone. I'm trying to think. I also like Tamra. I think Tamra looked really pretty, in that red.
I like Tamra as well. I agree. Yeah. I like Tamra. I thought that she looked beautiful. I just would have preferred, I think that the hair and the dress and the glitter and the makeup, I think that it was just all a lot. Yeah. I'm also super simple. So that's just like the aesthetic that I tend to like be drawn to, things that are more simple. Yeah. And I feel like the hair clashed with the dress. If her hair was like, she could have still done like something dramatic. If it was like pinned up or pinned back, I feel like she always resorts to that type of hairstyle. But I thought that she looked very pretty.
Yeah, I think she looked really pretty as well. That color was really pretty. I think that the hair was a lot. I also thought that I'm trying to think. So Gucci actually looked. I liked her. I think she looked great this at the reunion as well. But definitely, it's funny because I can be a little. I just like super girly things, and so Latrice just did it. The gloves. It was a whole Marilyn Monroe moment. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. Latrice did it for me too. I think that Ikeisha looked well. I would have liked if you're going to do a ponytail like that, I just feel like you should just do the whole weave. Like, just give me full blown Diana Ross. Like, before I locked my hair, I always wore my hair super big like Diana Ross. Like, the only thing you could see was like this. So if you're going to do it, just do it. Other than that, I thought everyone looked great. And I agree with you with So Gucci. She was giving very much Belle from Beauty and the Beast. I thought that she did a good job for her first reunion.
She did. Right. It was their first reunion. I think Ikeisha, I liked it, but I feel like I like the ponytail. I feel like this could have been softer. I'm not mad if it had been a ponytail, but I just wanted it to be a little softer. And I guess I kind of judge her a little bit harsher because she's so hard on everybody else. So that kind of makes I'm a little harder on her because she's hard. So let's get into that whole comment because that was a big thing with her being invited on the show and her making the statements about there not being any other cute girls. I think I told you, I was like, Ikeisha said that.
She definitely said it. She said it. And she said on Carlos King's show, that does sound like something I would say. So she said it.
She said it. I
don't think she meant it with malice, but she said it.
How could you not mean that with malice, though?
It's kind of like what we said it, like the way that we speak about JJ. Like, and I appreciate her honesty when he said, "Did you think that they were ugly?" And she said, "Well, I didn't think they looked good in the pictures." So I appreciate like, I appreciate that what you see with her is what you get, regardless. Like, even meeting her, like you mentioned previously, we met her and she is who she is.
Mm-hmm.
You
She
don't have
was. I remember, you guys, when we went to when we went to Ferris Street. We went to visit Ferris Street, and Ikeisha was quick to say, "Come see the buildings that I own."
Mhm.
And we were like, "Okay."
Okay. She took over that whole tour because Leticia was like, I was speaking with Leticia
Yeah.
initially. I was on the corner and she was like, I'm like trying to figure out like, well, what's taking so long? Why aren't you able to get into any of the buildings? And I was distracted because I heard
Yeah.
basically Ikeisha giving the tour of the whole street.
Yeah.
And then I ended up just following her.
She did. She did. I didn't have a choice. I was just like, okay, because because she was it was very clear that she, first of all, she owns several buildings there, and she just started, she wanted us to know that she knows the history. So I like all the ladies, but I like the fact that Leticia is one of those, when they go low, she stays high. She does not. She kind of got with Ikeisha a little bit tonight, but she still came back to, she wants everybody to be friends. She wants everybody to work together for Ferris Street. Leticia really loves Ferris Street. She genuinely loves it. That is commendable. So I really like her spirit. But yes, Ikeisha did say that. I knew she said it when Tambra said it. I knew it. It's just like you could tell from the time she was judging them. And she does have this elitist vibe to me. Like, my family comes from here. We're always been, well off. I really get that she has that elitist vibe. Also, even when she was talking about tonight her husband, and how, forever everybody's husband, everybody wants her husband when he was in the league. And I'm sure she's not lying, because, I'm sure women are after athletes. But to me, when she was like, he knows what he's gonna lose, and he would never, because I don't play that. I don't feel like you should ever speak with that type of confidence, because ladies, everybody, all of us, I don't care who you are, you Beyonce, Nia Long, Halle Berry, everybody's husband can surprise them. So you should never sit there and talk with all that confidence about he knows what he got. He may, but somebody may be talking to him. You just can never do that. And when you do that, it's almost an open opportunity, an invite to me, for women to prove you wrong. What did you think about that?
I agree that it's an open invitation for women to say, to be the one to deflect him from you. It's like a challenge for them, like you said. I didn't necessarily have a problem with her statement. Now, hopefully none of that comes to fruition. I think that she was just trying to make a point in regards to what Glenn and Tisha are going through. And regarding her personality, I don't know if I consider her elitist. I do think that she can come off as like showy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she can come off in that way, but I do not think that she does it intentionally. Like, sometimes you have to call something out for people to realize what it is that they are doing. And as I mentioned previously, I like her because what you see is what you get. I don't think that she does anything with malice. I think that she's cool. I think that that her personality, though, could be considered a turnoff to some. But I feel like I have similar traits, so maybe maybe that's why I'm able to relate to her in that way.
Yeah.
Because because she does have good qualities to her as well.
Yeah.
That whole spiel that she gave in regards to Glenn and Leticia, and she's like, regardless of what Leticia and I are going through, she was still able to empathize with Leticia, even with Tambra in the season finale. Now, I would have not taken the high road that she did with Tambra. And, once Tambra left after the decorator showed up, and she said, regardless of what's going on, we're a sisterhood. We've been talking about this other girl for X amount of weeks. So I'm leaving, and I'm not even going to allow this girl to get this much play. I thought that was commendable, because no one in the room did that. Yeah. So I think that you have to look at both sides when it comes to Ikeisha.
No. I think she does it with. I think she knows what she's doing because she's smart. She's sharp.
She's definitely smart. She's sharp. She's witty. She gets She gets Phaedra Park spirit.
Yeah, but you know what? I think she's a real. I think Phaedra's a fake Southern Belle. I think she's a real. Like she really is that. Danny M says Leticia talked about her family not wanting her high wear. I didn't understand that because I guess they talked a little bit about. They didn't talk about that in the reunion tonight. But when Leticia said your family didn't even want you, I was shocked to hear Leticia say that. I thought that was really below the belt.
It was below the belt and it was unwarranted. Nothing that Ikeisha said warranted that response.
Yeah.
And as a product of an adoption, I was highly offended.
Yeah, that was really below the belt.
And it had nothing to do with the conversation. Like that was apples to oranges.
Yeah.
I don't even know what she said, but her response was, "You're something because your family didn't even want you when you were born." Like, girl, what?
Yeah, that was out of Leticia's character. I feel like, but you know what? I will say this, and I think that was 100% wrong, and she definitely should have got called on that. But I think what people feel, and I think Simone Wealthy says this, I get colorist vibes. I think you have Ikeisha and Tambra having a conversation, and Ikeisha saying that we need to get some more cute girls on the show. We cannot ignore the fact that both of them are fair skinned and the other women are not. And I feel like when she said that, it felt to me as a viewer and as a brown skinned woman, it felt like here we go with that brown paper bag BS, right? And I know we're way past that, but we kind of aren't, because we see this conversation is even happening in the second episode of this reunion with So Gucci's daughters and her stepdaughter. So I feel like that hurts. I feel like when she made that statement about the rest of the women being ugly, you can say that you don't care and it doesn't bother you, but at the end of the day, I do think that did bother Leticia, especially because Leticia is the one that has been so open. So her triggered emotions and it showed in the fact that she tried to really hit below the belt, which was unacceptable. But I feel like it does kind of come off as I'm better. And then Marie even made a statement about, you can't trust people with light eyes. Like
light eyes,
a lot of old school colorism.
Yeah. Especially in the South.
Yeah. Yeah. When we went, it was like weird because I live in Atlanta, you're up north. And I mean, my Uber driver started talking about slavery on the way to the hotel. I was just like,
KKK.
Yeah. Like, where are we?
And remember, I got there super late. Like I got there like close to midnight, and we're driving. Like I didn't realize the airport was like 25 minutes away from the hotel, and I'm in the back seat of this white pickup truck, just driving along dirt roads. I'm just like with locks in my hair. Like no, I shared my location immediately. So, yes, I do. Yeah. It definitely gives. That definitely. It definitely feels like a light versus dark. Even in the way that they interact with one another, like the venom that Leticia said that to Ikeisha, it was just like so hateful in the way that she spewed it out. Yeah, I think so. And I mean, we're gonna see more next week with the girls, but even the conversation that we saw during the season with So Gucci's daughter and JJ's daughters. I mean, she literally like light-skinned girls get treated better. Like it's all out there. So I think they're going to delve into that more. But I feel like that's that's the subtle energy that's under that, which is why it's so hurtful. And I feel like Ikeisha, I don't know if I'm sure she's aware of it because everybody's aware of it. But I feel like she knows what she was saying, what she meant when she saw the poster with all the brown-skinned girls on it. Just my opinion. Okay, so let's talk about Marie and Latrice, because so my question to you and to everyone in the chat, you guys, we are obviously talking about the recap from tonight's episode, tonight's reunion special for Belle Collective. And so I want to ask you guys, do you believe that Latrice actually needed Marie for a storyline? Do you believe that? Because Marie said that, and it was brought up tonight, and she actually stood behind it. So Danny says, "Do knows." You called it.
Yes. Okay, so what do you guys think? Do you think that Latrice needed Marie for a storyline? Brenda, what do you think?
I don't know if she necessarily, I don't know if either one of them needed each other for a storyline, but we all know that whatever happens in the first episode of any reality show carries the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I do not think I don't think that that the conversation, I don't feel like it was that deep for it to have triggered everything else that has transpired since then. I do, however, believe that you coming onto a national platform saying that you purchased hair from Goddess Lengths or Goddess Tresses, I think it's called Goddess Lengths.
It's Goddess Lengths.
Yes, you purchasing the hair from her brand and basically saying that it was cheap quality, that can be hurtful to her business. Like I said, on a national platform. So I would not be surprised that Latrice wanted to get back at her in some way. I don't know if she went as far as to report her business, but it's kind of like a tit. They definitely have a tit for tat relationship.
Yeah,
I think that they use each other for a storyline, to be honest.
I agree. I did not. I actually thought Marie was the one that was going after her for a storyline in the very first episode, season 1, when she, and even when we came with the first season for the first episode for this season, but that first one, Marie seemed like the mean girl that was being hateful towards Latrice, and Latrice did seem to go over the top to try to be nice to everybody, and Marie was like coming for her. So I'm like, I don't think Latrice needed her. Latrice also has a lot going on. She got
in her personal life to where she can have her own.
Yeah.
I think that both of them actually have enough going on to where they don't have to bicker with one another. I think that individually their storylines are entertaining or compelling enough. So their whole feud is exhausting. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like Latrice began to cry. I do not think that she cried because she was triggered by Leticia's tears and, oh, when you cry, I cry. No, I think that she was crying because she's over it.
Yeah.
And it does a lot of times seem one-sided, just to even go give some behind the scenes information. When we did hang out with them, what is it? That's not her name. Marie makes a lot of comments that Latrice ignores.
Yeah.
A lot of times Latrice she just really seems unbothered to me.
She does. I think that bothers Marie, that she seems so unbothered. But I will say, Saptosa says, I think they both understood that they needed to create drama. I agree with that. And why? I think I told you this when we were there. I think I asked Latrice, like, what is this? And she was just like, it works. They kind of have that back and forth that does make for good reality TV drama. I don't think either one of them take it too seriously, but I do think that Marie is irritated because Latrice she's so overly confident and she's going to throw it in everybody's face. She comes in the room, I'm fine.
Beyonce of Jackson. And
she is. She's just constantly throwing it in your face. And so someone that's, especially Marie, is dealing with a lot, I think it just irritates her. And I think that it antagonizes her, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of empathy for Marie because of everything going on in her life. And I feel like we're not getting the best version of Marie a lot of times, especially during the season. She's dealing with a lot. I mean, I feel for her. I think, we talked about that on the trip. Like, man, I know that everybody goes through things, but, she has a grandson whose mother was killed. Her mother is on drugs. She got a husband or ex-husband, whatever, that's a whole hot mess. I don't know what's going on with her and Essie, but it definitely feels like something else that they don't feel comfortable talking about, sharing. And, her son, let's not forget the fact that her son was disrespectful as hell last year. And she's trying. So I just feel like
I think that is misplaced anger when it comes to Marie. And I will never forget. I remember watching one episode of Punk'd like years ago with Ashton Kutcher, and I don't remember what celebrity it was, but he said something that always stuck with me when he said, "It's nothing worse than when you're annoyed or you're having a horrible day and someone else is having a great effing day." That really does annoy you.
Yeah.
Like So
Yes.
I think that that's what it gives, and I think that it's unfair. But I also feel like behind the scenes, we did get to see something that's different. So I don't know if this is curated for the show, because they
Yeah.
do have good banter a lot of times. Even,
Yeah.
On camera, her showing up to Marie's party to support her, and Marie seemed genuinely happy that she was there and that she was trying to make an effort. I do think that Carlos hit it on the nose when he told the two of them that, Marie just feels like she's not respected. And I don't understand what type of respect she's necessarily looking for from Latrice.
I don't either. I agree that what you said was golden, that she's having a hard day. And even Latrice is the type that even if she is having a bad day, she's not gonna let you know. She gonna show up, she's gonna look amazing. She's, she definitely doesn't have some of the external issues. We don't know we know that she's going through stuff and that she comes from a difficult background, but she doesn't wear it. Marie wears it, right? So it comes off very different. Let me ask you this. What do you guys think? Oh, and if you're just tuning in again, this is Christal Jordan. I have my diva, Brenda Alexander, hanging out with me tonight, talking about, we are in our reunion looks, talking about tonight's.
That's what you can do for today.
But make sure that you like, share, and like this conversation. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and share it so other people hear what we're saying. And, we could talk about this until next Friday when we can do this again. But let me ask you, what do you think about the allegations that Marie had some fraudulent, things going on with her methadone clinics that was brought up tonight? Looks like Latrice brought receipts that this has happened before. And that was a lot to me. Those allegations of Latrice digging into the background and saying, I don't want you to show the background that you found on Leticia, but go ahead and show the background on Marie. That was kind of odd. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I thought that was a lot, but I do think that another reason why I feel like Latrice cried is because she genuinely, because the question that she asked, it's so many people on this show. The question that she asked Leticia was, do you think that I tried to ruin her business?
Right.
And she said that with tears.
Yeah.
And, Leticia said no. And I tried to explain that to her. So I think that's another painful situation for her, is that she's like, I didn't even do this to this woman and she's putting this on me. So I think that she brought those to kind of clear her name, but I just wanted to stop. I'm over it.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think the viewers are interested in that. I think that, Latrice storyline with her and her husband, I mean, I like them together, but it's just odd. It's an odd relationship. I think there's enough there to really keep you connected. And then also we see Latrice talking to her family. She lost I think a brother, or maybe even two brothers.
Two brothers. I believe it was two, and that her father was incarcerated. So it was just really her and her mother. And I believe she was the first to, continue on with her education. And she really built herself up. I think there is a lot of meat there, because I listened to her interview with Carlos, and she spoke about, her being with Cliff, and a lot of people have it misconstrued that she got with Cliff because he was, the one that had all of this money and he invested in her business. And according to her, none of that is true. And she was the one that was introducing him to real estate. And it took her, she asked him to invest in her business and to help her with her business, and he said no initially. So I think there's enough meat there to where she does not have to have this back and forth with Marie. Now, whether or not she's open to delving into that is another conversation.
Yeah, I agree. Even the idea of her being honest and vulnerable, because we don't really see a very vulnerable Latrice a lot, but the fact that she was honest about it feels like she's afraid to have a child because of her upbringing. I think that's a lot there. Danny says you're not a fan of Zaddy. I am. I was off the first season. I was like, what is this? But after going to Jackson and meeting the two of them, I really like him. I like the two of them together, but it is just an odd. Odd.
I agree. Because we hung out with the men at the bar, for 30 minutes. So we got to spend time with them outside of, their wives, and we got to chit chat with them. So I really do like Cliff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's odd or if it just doesn't, to me a lot of times it doesn't come off as like a loving, like a love-filled marriage. It comes off to me like a parental figure and teenager a lot of times, and that's what makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know if he recognizes that. And she said, like, a lot of times I don't like the way you speak to me. I feel like you talk down to me. And a lot of times when she speaks to him, I feel like she kind of shrinks
Yeah.
in areas of conflict. And that's what makes me uncomfortable. I mean, I can't speak on their marriage because I only saw what I saw. I don't, they seem cool together, but some certain things, certain aspects within their marriage definitely makes me uncomfortable from what I've watched on the show.
Yeah, I get that, but I also feel like this is not my opinion. Anytime you have that big of an age difference, you're gonna find that. And I feel like, women, there's so many women that marry older men that are affluent and have things, and then are upset because he does try to control them. And it's like, that is the dynamic.
Yeah, that's what you're asking for, essentially.
Right. This is what it is. So, because anybody, I mean, you can't look at someone that's that much younger than you. It's hard to see them as an equal. It's just hard. So I feel like that's the dynamic. And that's why to me it's odd. But I do feel like there's a genuine connection there, but I just don't understand it. But it's interesting to watch. To me, I think their relationship is interesting. Honestly, all the relationships, that was one of my issues with Belle Collective when we first were introduced to it. I thought all the relationships were really weird and slightly toxic. You have these very serious boss women who have pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, and most of the husbands were not. And I'm talking about specifically Leticia and Marie, because we saw a lot more of her relationship. That was heartbreaking. The first season, like, this guy is not really supporting you. He's not there for you. The same thing with Glenn. He was not supportive of Leticia trying to do things on her own. He wanted her to kind of stay at home and serve him all the time. It was just, I didn't like the relationships on the show. And then you have, Cliff and Latrice. And again, it's like, it just felt like there weren't any really healthy relationships, marriages. Honestly, this season, I do like Ikeisha and her husband, and so Gucci and her husband, because even though they are they're a little bit of comic relief because JJ's going to bring the comedy. At least they feel like they're in sync.
They feel more equally yoked.
Yes, yes. Let me ask you this, and again, also for the comments, I do like Septosa's comment about Latrice's marriage and personal life aren't enough to bring out her feisty personality, and that could be true because her and Daddy, we don't see the Latrice of the Beyonce Latrice. We see that when she's interacting with the other ladies, so it could be.
That's what I mean by it feels like when she's with him, she kind of like shrinks a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with next season. So Ikeisha said that she basically was the reason that the ratings went up this season. And so I want to ask you, do you think that, and of course you guys in the chat, please let me know what you think. Do you think that this season of Belle Collective was more popular and did do better with viewers because of Ikeisha and Gucci? And if so, which one do you think brought more of the viewers? I think that's probably going to be obvious if you think that they brought. But do you think that Ikeisha is the reason that the ratings were better this season?
I think that that's part of it. That and all of the chaos between Glenn and Leticia.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it looked better. I like this. I like the aesthetics. When I saw the season premiere picture, I was like, okay, yes, like it stepped up, because when last season it looked a little basic, no shade, and this season it looked more like, okay, now they're actually able to, hold their own against, especially with the look, with I'm not gonna say housewives, but they're coming, like they're actually able to actually be looked at.
They have a bigger budget, it looks like.
I mean, because last season it was not giving at all, and I think a lot of people were not. I do think Ikeisha brought a lot of uh just drama and tension, which did work, and I do think they needed somebody that was just gonna cut to it and say, because the rest of them are kind of dancing around trying to not make each other angry. And even though Latrice and Marie were going back and forth, I didn't enjoy watching that. I do enjoy watching Ikeisha. She's funny to me. And I think she has enough substance to actually bring a little bit more credibility to it.
That's what I was going to say. I completely agree with you in terms of Ikeisha having more substance to her, credibility. Even like we said, like her marriage seems a bit more on solid ground. Everything that she's able to do on Ferris Street because of her family, because of her connections, because potentially of what her husband's access as well. Yeah. So I think that's another part of it. I think that she brings more of an established personal and professional life to the show.
Mm-hmm. Danny says JJ was also on a Lifetime show, so he probably brought crossover views. And then
I know that before this show, because before he was on here, because I didn't watch it. My sister was actually the one who pointed that out. She's like, "Oh, that's the guy from Bring It." Never watched Bring It, so had no idea. But he has a huge fan base.
Wow. Well, he's personable. He's funny. He's a character. He's definitely personable. Yeah. Simone says, so Gucci is there because her husband is a funny fool. And I do think that he kind of takes over the scenes with the two of them. I would have liked to see more from her. Because I don't feel like she really brought a lot of, we didn't really get a chance to know her very much this season.
I agree. I honestly didn't really get a chance to know her when we were there either. I thought that she was a little bit more quiet and more of like, I felt like she was observing more. Like I feel like she's like slowly trying to get in and trying to get her feet wet. So maybe, I'm not sure if the entire cast is returning next season, but hopefully if she does return, we get to see more of who she is. But he does steal the scene. He gives very much Peter Thomas from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, that's just who he is.
It is definitely who he is. He's always on.
The fashions alone will steal the scene. Do you not
ponytail, the braids and the barrettes?
Do you not remember what he wore to the brunch?
I do. I was just blown away because I didn't even know when we got to the brunch. I did not know who he was, right? Because I didn't know he was on the show. We hadn't seen the new cast.
I didn't know that was her husband.
I didn't either. And he came up and started talking to us. We were just like, who is this Jackson character? And it
is very much like Southern pimp daddy, like owns a speakeasy, makes moonshine. But like he had on all white with like a white graphic tee and white sandals with sparkles and bling with socks, with like white tube socks. And I was
the balls at the end of the hair were swinging.
They were swinging.
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. Marriott, hey girl.
Does she do his hair? Like, how does this work?
I don't know, but I because she made a statement that they showed tonight on the reunion about Leticia's edges not being slicked down.
When?
She said, well, they showed the clip that she was like, at the brunch, she said she wanted to just slick. She wanted to lick and like your mama does when you're little. And Leticia said, I wish you would have spit on me. But a lot of times Latrice definitely shows up with the goddess lens and actually her hair is always on point. But everybody, Marie and the George Washington, I was glad. Carlos is shady as hell because he was like, I wanted to see the blonde. I was like, Jesus Lord, no.
It can be hit or miss.
It's miss.
No, I mean with all of them except for Latrice with the hair.
Right.
But like when we met them in person, I was so confused when she kept calling herself Marie Monroe. I'm like, where's Monroe coming from? Because I hadn't watched the first episode prior to getting there because I got there so late.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like, oh no. Oh.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I mean, and I no. But that's nothing. We were there. She was also very disconnected from the other ladies.
Yes, that was the one thing we talked about there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only and that was true when Carlos said, you're the closest person to Marie. So, but Essie was there.
Essie was there.
Aside from Essie, that is the only person that she talks to.
Yeah.
And I think that she's just naturally guarded. Because when you talk to her, she's very sweet. I sat next to her at the dinner and I spoke to her practically the entire night.
Yeah. And see, I sat next to, guys, I talked to Leticia and Glenn the entire time. I was giving
therapist.
I was giving therapy to Leticia and Glenn, which, I love talking about that. But let's go there, because I'm not gonna lie, we left Jackson and I was rooting for Glenn, because Glenn, first of all, Glenn talked to me the entire dinner, and at the bar, Glenn talked to both of us about the fact that he really wanted his family. He was just, it was us talking to all the guys, and Glenn was lamenting his case, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody was in on the conversation, but I actually really felt for him, and I was like, he's sorry. We're giving him advice on how to navigate the situation. So I'm totally like, Negro, for real. When I saw the last episode, the season finale, and it announced
the note came up at the end,
I'm like, come on, dude. And I was hoping, because I even text you, I was like, maybe that wasn't really true. Maybe because
it was true.
What is your take on Glenn and Leticia?
Okay, Glenn. First of all, he laughed when he giggled when Carlos asked him about whether or not he was still sexting and communicating with other women.
He did.
And he said, "Oh, not sexting. Having conversation, yes." So I guess it's comical to you that you are still engaging in extramarital activity. Fine. What pissed me off the most is that he is not even smart enough, or he doesn't even care enough to keep his own backup login Instagram when he is fooling around via DMs with other women. Like, you really do not care.
He doesn't. That
really shows that you give 0 Fs and that you feel as if you can do whatever you want to this woman, cry, beg, and plead, give her a few flowers, she'll go away for the night, and she'll fall back in.
Well, I want to point out, Leticia was crying before the reunion because we saw her when Carlos came in and her eyes were all puffy. Mm-hmm. The day we were there, and this was the week before the episode, Leticia cried at our dinner, like throughout our conversation when I was giving them therapy. She was in tears. It is really sad to watch, but Glenn is not going to change, because he knows they've been together forever. He's been doing this forever. And I do think that he loves her, but he is not mature enough to do the right thing. And also, they've been together since they were kids. He said to us that they've been together since they were in high school. Mm-hmm. So he never really had a chance to grow into himself. He doesn't probably even know who he really is without Leticia. And I think that's dangerous for most men, but it's not an excuse. I think she's going to have to leave. I don't know if she will have the courage to do it, because she's still in Jackson, even though she's on television and they're getting a lot more attention. I don't think that she's going to, eventually she may, but right now that's not the case. And he definitely treats her like he knows she's not going to go anywhere, and he still has control. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Like, I'm mad because I fell for it. I was like, Glenn, and he's like really trying. He was like, I'm going to therapy. I'm doing whatever I want. I can't see myself not being with her. I love her to death. I mean, they're talking about going to church. It is ridiculous for him to know that that was like 3 months ago.
Well, I feel like you and I learned very early that I was about to say Cliff. Cliff is funny too,
Yes.
but that Glenn has the gift for gab, because I will never forget what he told us at the bar where you and I were down his throat about his shenanigans, and he said with a straight face and a calm tone, "Listen, you know, men, we have a sickness."
He did. Oh my God, he did. He did.
Even the men laughed.
He did.
So, according to him, this is just a part of what men do.
Yeah.
What sickens me and what makes me sad is that as a person who has as a woman who has been in a long and who was once in a long and toxic relationship, especially because I know that they've been together since they were teenagers.
Yeah.
I was with my ex from 17 to 29. And once you're in that cycle for so long, it is very, very difficult for you to identify that that is not normal nor healthy, because that is the only thing that you know.
Yeah.
And the healing from that is actually quite torturous. You literally have to untrain your mind and the way that you think in regards to relationships. And what I have learned from my personal situation and other women that I know that have gone through situations like that, if they choose to stay, which I did not, woot woot, it's almost impossible for you to redefine the relationship like that, because you've literally been in it for so long. And as a man like Glenn and most men, for people in general, the older you get, the more difficult it is for you to change. We all know this. Even something simple as, I'm going to start working out or eating healthy.
Yeah.
You will fail at that for 6 years before you actually start. So to be in a relationship from the time you're a teenager to what are they, in their 40s?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not going to stop.
Yeah.
They know each other very well.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what to do and what to say to get her exactly where he wants her. And once she's comfortable, he will slowly start his BS again.
It's not even slowly. It's immediately. It's not even slowly. That's what's so sad, because you do see situations where the man will act right for a while and then he'll eventually go back. But this is almost immediate. It's like you said, like as soon as he gets her back in a safe place where he feels like he's back in control, he goes right back to that behavior. And what he also acknowledged to us, because we were going in on Glenn. Like we
had already had a few drinks.
We were giving him the business. I'm like, it's you. You are the problem. You're immature. He was like, he
agreed.
Yeah. He doesn't know himself. He is extremely, because he was like, I don't, and I also, first of all, I want to call BS on him when Carlos asked him, was the baby, was that the only physical affair he had? And he said yes. That we all know that was BS.
He lied.
Like, I don't even know why Carlos didn't push him right then. He lied. That doesn't make any sense. You're not talking to women but not sleeping with them, because even his reaction to a woman sending him her breasts and him saying, wow, that just automatically shows you don't have any self-control. You're going to say, wow, she's going to say, I can do this, and you're going to go. But I did.
And then the whole, well, I've been with the same woman since I was 17. These are the only breasts that I've seen. You've never watched the porno?
He's lying, because he's been cheating on her
since before you guys were married. You've been doing this the entire duration of your marriage. Yeah. And on top of that, even last season, she said that he drive a car, or
he goes on a boat. He goes off on the boat.
Well, she said that every time he goes away that he plays or something. So what are you talking about?
That's because he goes away, and he said that he's just bored.
And she told him to read a book. I don't know how you're bored when you work. You're an adult. How do you get bored?
Well, I think that it's because he's not a mature person. He's not, all he knows. And he also, you know what? His response when he said, this is what men have a sickness, is what men do. And unfortunately, most of the men there were not, like, nobody was checking him besides the two of us. But it feels very much like Love and Marriage Huntsville. Carlos knows how to find these country couples that have all this toxicity in it. But it does feel like Martell's response to this is what men do. Like, and if as long as a man feels like that, his behavior is not going to change. It's not going to change because he feels like there's a built-in excuse because he's a man. Mm-hmm. And that means that that's going to be his behavior. Unfortunately, Leticia, I feel for her because she really, that's her only love. That's the only man that she has loved. That's probably like, it's unfortunate, but eventually she's going to have to, or she's going to go to her, they're going to go to their grave crying.
I feel for her because your like time doesn't stop. You've been dealing with this since you were 17 and I'm assuming, I'm not sure how old she is, but I'm assuming she's at least 40.
Yeah.
So that's a very long time. You are in your prime.
Yeah.
Here's my advice to Leticia. Hop on one or two, protect yourself in the mist, and you will see exactly what you're missing and what you deserve.
Yeah.
I did it, and look at me now. I mean,
and now she's happy with a fine bae.
With a fine bae, a fine Jamaican, amazing man who is watching this live. So
see, I literally I left immediately because I was always so afraid of being looked at as stupid. So I left at the first sign. Like, I'm out. I'm like a runner. I'm a track star. So my ex cheated. The first time I busted him, I was out. But I don't think that's good either. I learned that's not necessarily positive either because, people do make mistakes. And I agree with Carlos saying just because a person cheats doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It means they're a person that did something bad. But this is a pattern, and because he sees that she's not going to leave, there's a comfort level there. That's why he almost is like, when she tries to, he's like, what are you doing? Like, this is not what we do.
He's appalled.
Yeah.
That she decides to stand up for herself and realize where her worth is. I do believe that watching herself on television is an eye opener, but I don't necessarily know if she's ready to walk away. And you do have to be ready to walk away because all she's going to do is continue to, listen, like I said, I believe I said this in the last thing. Robert Sylvester Kelly said, when a woman's fed up, there's nothing you can do about it. That is the only thing that man has ever said that was right. And until Leticia is fed up, this is what she will have to endure. Like, know when you've had enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think sometimes you don't, because sometimes you don't value yourself. Mayoshi says there's a scene in one of the episodes when Glenn said, "You're acting brand new," and that was a red flag. I agree. I feel like he's shocked that she would even move out, because he said, "I can't believe that I'm having to come and see my son at your mother's house." How can you not believe it when you are cheating?
They're delusional.
And how have they not? Can I ask you guys this? And Brenda, I think we talked about this on the trip. Hey Kevin, how in the world has he not had a paternity test as of yet?
Yes.
That baby is almost is the same age or older than their little boy.
Yeah, the child is older than Joshua.
How in the hell have you guys been sitting around Jackson with all these rumors swirling, and he has not made an effort to go see if that's his child, and she has not? She's still allowing him to be they're still chilling in a marriage, and this other woman has not forced him to pay child support. Like, what the hell?
That's how you know he's trash.
He's trash. He is. Do you think that the baby is his?
Yes.
I do too.
We asked several members of the cast, and the men and the women, and they all said that baby's his.
And the men looked away. That's the funny thing. Cliff was like,
and that is the reason why she has already reconciled in her mind, well, if I forgave him for the affair, then I'll have to accept the baby too. The baby at this point is grown.
The baby
so
is
it really has nothing to do. I believe he's 10. It really has nothing to do with him. It's about, as Iyanla would say, how do you value yourself as a woman? Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah.
I didn't like you. I didn't leave the first time it happened.
Mm-mm.
But it was forever changed after that. I was already over the relationship when that happened, but I still didn't leave immediately after. I had to mentally and emotionally get myself out of that situation first before I could move on.
Physically. That makes sense. I think this is going to help her. Being on the television show and actually seeing that and then seeing other options, I think will help her, because a lot of times when women are stuck in a situation, the TV show gives you access to different things, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that can help. It could possibly help her to actually get the strength to leave. She just got to get the strength to put her foot down and move on. And I do agree, if she, I hate to say this because I don't believe that, marriage, you're not supposed to step out, but sometimes you have to separate and move on. And if she has a chance to see that there's a world out there so much larger than Glenn has not matured. And everybody's been saying this in the chat, that she's outgrown him. And the reason she's outgrown him,
she confirmed that to us. She said that to us.
She did in their counseling session. And even that night, even the night we were there, but he doesn't want to grow. He does not want to grow. He really does not. Because if he wanted to grow, she's given him numerous opportunities to try to become. She's asking him. She's trying to please him. She's
adjusting herself for him. Okay, you say that I'm not cooking or cleaning or catering to you. Let me ump the ante in that department, and that's still not enough. That is never satisfied.
Because it's him. I told him that. I said, Glenn, it's you. You are you're not happy with yourself. And he was like, you know what? You're right. But I feel like he was just talking.
He was just talking. Like I said, granted, I don't dislike him. I don't think I don't martell him. I don't think that he is a bad man. When I say
martell is now a verb. Martell is a verb. I don't martell him.
I don't think that he is a bad man. I don't think that he's a bad man. Yeah. I think that one of the things that I feel like I connect with Leticia, being as though I was in a relationship for so long, I was afraid to leave because I knew that once I left, I wasn't going to come back. And I knew that once I left, that person would feel like, oh, I can get myself together now.
Oh, wow.
But it's too late. It's too late, even though that's another story. And I also feel as if one of my fears was, once I have things or someone or something to compare it to, I definitely won't go back. And I think that that's her fear. You can't help who you love, but I do think that she is not in love with him anymore. And she's afraid to admit it because she has the fear of the unknown. This is all she knows.
He's familiar. He's familiar. That's all she knows. But right. It's not love at this point. It's comfort.
It's comfort. And she loves him. She loves him unconditionally, but she doesn't love him in a romantic way anymore. And that is okay. Because as you said, she's grown and he hasn't, at least within their relationship. Right. And if you keep telling the person that you love that they're hurting you and they continue to hurt you even more, like, how damaging is that?
Yeah, I think that's why I think women have to get out of that, because every time you stay with someone and you're crying, you're basically chipping away at yourself. Yes. And it takes so long to rebuild.
It does.
It takes a long time. And look, girl, time keeps moving. So I do hope she gets out of that relationship while she has time to heal and go on and have a great second chapter. We both have great second chapters. It's possible. So I want that for her. And I hate that because I really wish Glenn would be a better man. But
and for him to say, oh, I love her to the best of my ability, that's BS.
That says I'm going to keep doing that. This is the best I can do. That's the best I want to do.
And that's exactly what it is. That's the best that he wants to do. It's not the best that he can do. Everyone is capable of being a decent human being to the person that they've committed to.
Yeah. But I also want to say, because
don't want to do it.
Tiffany said, honestly, they both probably need to be away from each other, because I don't feel like it's healthy to be with someone when you're that young and not have a chance to mend it's almost like she became his mother, and he needs to grow up and be on his own and learn how to function on his own. He doesn't really know how to function on his own without Leticia. They're they're codependent on one another. And I feel like even with her moving back in with her mom, that's okay to get yourself on your feet, but they both.
I was so perplexed by that. I was like, why doesn't she just move into her own place? But I feel like she did that because she knew that she was eventually going to go back.
I don't know. I feel like I say this not with shade. This is not shady. I don't know that I believe Leticia, the Pearson Enterprises, or Leticia Pearson Enterprise is as thriving as much as Carlos King would want us to believe.
Well, listen, there has to come a time where you don't care, where you can live in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment with you and your baby, and you have a peace of mind and self-respect.
But when you're on a reality show, and the whole premise
That's
of the
reality
show,
then.
but the premise of the show was that these are all millionaires.
I understand what you're saying, but we've seen the downfall of housewives. Portia built, no, seriously. Portia, think about Portia Williams' storyline. She was a housewife, married to a former NFL player. He kicked her out. She moved back in with her mama, got a few jobs, got on Dish Nation, and starred in Candy Burris' play and built herself back, built herself up.
Then got with one of her castmates' former husbands, and now is a multimillionaire and quit all the jobs. Is a lady of leisure. Okay. I don't know if I want to.
We don't want that for Leticia, but I don't mind seeing someone fall down, which I don't consider.
I agree with you on that.
I would rather see that and see you find yourself. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with starting over.
Right.
Because what's on the other side can be so much more beautiful, so much more fulfilling, so much more worth the rest of your life.
Right. I agree.
Dealing with this. Your biggest fear was looking stupid, which I don't think is possible, because it's possible, but I don't feel like women should put that on themselves. You know what I mean? My biggest fear was wasting time. Like, I was turning 30 and I was like, oh, I'm not doing this.
No, I did not want to be the woman, just like, all the women tonight said, I mean, who are these women? Because it's so funny that every woman is always standing up like they're this strong, empowered sister. But who are these desperate Klingons in these men's DMs saying, I can do what your wife won't do with you? Who are these bitches? Like,
you would be surprised.
Like, I know. I'm just saying there's so many more of them than actually stand up and will admit it, right? I didn't want to be on the other end. And I grew up the daughter of a very, very proud woman. So I was like, I'm not going to be looking stupid while somebody else is like, yeah, I got her. Because that's, like we said earlier, women like the idea of going after someone's husband. They like that idea of, oh, he's on TV and she thinks this, but I got him. I was not going to be, and we were definitely not on television, but my ex-husband was cheating with someone he worked with. My picture's all on his desk, but she knows that no.
That's so weird.
It's like a pride thing for me, which pride goes before a fall. So like I said, it's not good. I left probably too soon. But
that's one of the 7 deadly sins, Christal.
It is. And I struggled, but I was like, you got me all up. You got me.
The audacity. You know what? I guess I had a little bit of pride too, because he cheated and then I did my thing like 2 years later, a year or 2 later in Jamaica. So,
but so I respect that. What I don't respect is the women. Well, and I won't say that because I've learned everybody is different. But I respect that at least you were like, no, you're not just gonna do me crazy.
I'm gonna get my lick back.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you back. Now I may be hurt, but I ain't,
But that's why I said for Leticia, it was literally what is that thing that Marie had a rebirthday party.
Yes, yes.
Honey, it was a rebirthday party for me.
In
Okay.
Jamaica.
And
I'm not mad at it.
that is when it was like a light bulb went off. It was like, huh, like that's when I realized, girl.
Sometimes if you're not that, and that's the lesson tonight, ladies. If you're not strong enough to leave,
do something that will make you leave, or something. Do something
for you. Do something for you. Not
and watch how God works it out.
No, I'm just saying, like, sometimes you may need something to jumpstart your own healing process. Yes. If that jumpstarts your healing process, I'm at this point, I want her to do whatever she needs to do to find happiness. So, Leticia, we want you to find happiness by any means necessary. Let's talk real quickly about Ikeisha and her husband. Ikeisha's her situation is a little different because she has small children.
Yeah, she like 1 and 2, or like not even 1 yet or something.
Yeah, she said she was pregnant 2 years in a row. So, so she's in a different space in her. It seemed like she did the thing of being the successful woman. Then she got this athlete, and then she came back to Jackson. What do you guys think about her relationship? Because we've seen her being a little judgmental of some of the other ladies, but Mayoshi said Melody Cherie Holt is an excellent example. God said go. Melody needs to take Leticia under her wing at this point. I want the Carlos, the Kingdom Reign production castmates to connect, and Melody, please go help Leticia. Please.
Well, it took 3 seasons for Mel to say goodbye, and we're going into season 3. So
well, that's a good point. That's a good point. But Melody was, even though she was still there, I just felt like she had more fight. Tiffany, we don't think cheating is right, but we're just saying whatever Leticia needs. I don't want to see her keep crying. I literally sat there with her.
I'm not saying that I condone cheating either. I'm just saying what was the jump start for, and I did it. Look, I'm saying what was the jump start for me to get out of a toxic cycle after I was cheated on and disrespected and verbally abused and all types of other things.
Yeah.
And things happen in relationships. People are, especially when you get together, when you're with somebody that's that young.
Yeah.
So it is okay for people to move on. They can still love each other from a distance and be great co-parents, and they can be the best of friends. Okay. We've seen
this is not good for their son to see. This is not great parenting. This is not a great marriage, because his mother, trust me, Joshua knows his mother is crying all the time. Kids pick up on that. He knows that. He also is seeing a father that is, and I'm not saying that Glenn's not a good dad, because you can tell he really loves his son, but that's not a good example to set. Your dad is constantly hurting your mom.
Hurting your mother, disrespecting your mother. You don't want him to go and think that that's okay to do to women.
Yeah, I think that she would have a great storyline. Tyra is hilarious. Tyra, I see your comment about Melody, and we know Melody obviously, did whatever she needed to do, and then she didn't remember. Maybe that's what Leticia
Look, Mel got amnesia very quick at that reunion.
That whole reunion, she was totally clueless to what had happened. But we're just saying that's not healthy. It's not a healthy relationship. It's toxic, because Leticia literally throughout the season, at a press day, she's crying. At the reunion, she's crying. It's too much pain. She's got to cut the bleeding. I feel like you need to sometimes you got to cut it off and let it heal. Because it's not going to heal as long as you stay in that relationship. She's never going to be able to heal, because he's going to keep hurting her. He's going to keep cheating. And I feel like he's going to keep looking for something. And when she leaves, he's going to realize there's nothing out there. But he needs to go and figure it out.
And that will be on him.
Yeah, and get on away from her. I'm sorry, Glenn, we can't do it. But I was asking you about Ikeisha and her husband. I thought that he was very funny. I actually liked him a lot once I had a chance to. We saw him with the guys, and he seemed to be very perplexed by the country accents, and he's from New York, definitely fish out of water in Jackson. But I actually liked her husband a lot. What did you think?
I like him too. I thought that he was funny the moment she sat with him and she was like, I actually met So Gucci, and he was like, that was so corny. So I thought that he was funny from the moment he stepped on camera. I'm sorry, I'm just plugging my computer up. I think that he's very cool and like calm and just confident. He like lets Ikeisha be Ikeisha.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is important when your wife is on a reality show. The show is about the women. I feel like, he just lets her do her. And I think from what I can see, I think they make a great couple.
Yeah.
So
I also think that because he was a former football player, there's a certain level of confidence. He doesn't have to, he's not, he can
be in the spotlight.
Yeah, he can let her have this because he's had that and done it. I also, in that scene where they were talking about a house, I feel like he can let her be Ikeisha, but yet that she don't run him. And I like that.
I like that too. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, he definitely, I don't think he necessarily cares much about the show because, again, this is a former football player that, this is probably small potatoes for him. He's retired and he's not, that's not where you can tell that this is her time.
That's what it feels like to me. I feel like he's had his own success on like a national platform, and he's just like, okay, well, this is what she wants to do, so I'm supporting her in doing this. They don't need the show. She was going to open her business on Ferris Street regardless.
Right.
She already had the building, she had the access, but the show does make it easier and it does bring more attention to what it is that, she's trying to do. So I think that that's cool.
I do think Ikeisha wanted to be on television. I think she has the money, but I think she wants the fame and the attention. We heard that she was supposed to be on another reality show, I think Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Yeah, which would not have been a good fit at all with her.
I don't think she would have made that.
Only African-American cast member. No, that would not have worked.
No, she's not. She may be the elitist in Jackson, but not. I don't think she would have gelled with that cast in New Jersey.
No, New Jersey is a show where they're all family ties.
Yeah, and they're Italian.
It's Italian American families.
Yeah, that would have been an odd man out, and they definitely would not have been welcoming. It just was not.
It wouldn't have worked. If we're talking about colorism, imagine what would have taken place.
It would have been the opposite way.
Yeah,
the opposite way. So, what do you think? But last thoughts. What do you think about next? The part 2. I'm kind of like, besides, we got to get Glenn's paternity test out in the beginning, which I think the child is going to be his. We see that Leticia is crying, a lot in the second half of this. I really don't like the fact that we're airing out this colorism issue with So Gucci's daughters.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I think that there was a better way to discuss their blended family issues.
Yeah. And I think I'm learning that blended families can be difficult, but I don't feel like this is a positive way. The girls, I know that they're not children, they're young women.
They're adults, right?
But I still just don't think that's a positive thing. I would really like to see more of Gucci and JJ, their relationship, because
they're fine.
Yeah, I don't want to see the daughters talking about the colorism, but it's funny because it's an uncomfortable conversation, but I mentioned this on the Ready to Love recaps. We talk about this all the time. It's still, even though we say that we're past it, it always comes back up. So there's a reason that we've had this storyline on Love and Hip Hop Miami. We've had this storyline on Ready to Love dang near every season. There's an issue with that. So it's a common theme. And so maybe that is why we're revisiting it. But I don't really care to see that part. I'm interested in seeing where this goes next season. Do you think that Ikeisha and So Gucci both were the right people to bring on, as opposed to what was the dentist name that
I
we
don't
lost?
remember her name. Let me Google that right now.
I don't remember her name either.
Belle Collective dentist.
Because they just never did talk about where she went.
There was no explanation as to why she's not on the show, but from what I did read, it was her decision not to come back.
Yeah.
I still would have loved for them to address it because Carlos and Latrice spoke about it on his podcast when Latrice was on it, and she said
Antoinette,
they're still in contact, but they're, you know, obviously the reason why they hung out so much was because of the show.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know why, you know, she decided not to come back, because she didn't really have dramas, right, with the lady. So I don't really get why she chose not to. But I think that Ikeisha was a perfect addition. I'm looking forward to seeing what So Gucci will do moving forward. Like we said, I don't think that we really got to see a good, even a half of a scope of who she is.
Yeah.
Even meeting her in person, she's a little bit more reserved. So we'll see. I like her though.
Yeah, I liked her when we saw her promo package. I was thinking, like, is she gonna, because she kind of favors to me Marlo a little bit, but it was nothing like Marlo. Like, she kind of favored her, and then when she was talking about how she's like, you know, and then the name So Gucci, I thought I was just expecting something very different.
Yeah.
And then even with her saying that she was the top real estate agent in Jackson, I just expected a very different personality. But actually, I'm not really a fan of those big over the top mean girl personalities. So I like her. I want to get to know her a little bit more. And like I said, I think the dynamic with her and JJ, because it's kind of flip flop, like they're the opposite of Cliff and Latrice, because Latrice is over the top and Cliff is kind of like, you know, just, you know, the daddy that's like, okay, slow down. JJ is like over the top. And even though Shoguchi is like cool with it, she still is more reserved to kind of balance his over the top out. So I want to see more. I want to see more of that, you know?
Yeah. And as far as what I'm excited to see about it on part 2, I need clarity on Tambra and Damon's relationship timeline.
Can I ask a question about that? Because I had a question this entire season. Why are we talking about an emotional relationship at this with this level of intensity? Like, I feel like that's a storyline that's being just they're trying to create drama for Tambra. I don't like how Tambra has responded to it. She's just doing the most to me. And I was like, why is she going so hard? Why is she so over the top with her lashing out at everybody? I felt like that was weird. But I also feel like, so what if at this point this dude had an emotional relation? What is that? They're
emotional connection.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Well, you know how men, well, not just men, how people in relationships feel like you can sleep with anyone, but if you develop feelings for someone, like that is the ultimate sin. Yeah. Maybe that is what they're trying to put forth, but that's not how it's landing. So no. I personally don't understand I don't know her name, what the decorator means by an emotional connection, because it has not been explained to us.
You know what? 2Ls is hilarious. She said that timeline is flawed like Tambra's confessional voice.
Yeah, I don't listen, because I watched her interview with DJ Richie Sky, and I listened, and I saw it somewhere else. She said that they've been together since college and for 15 years. And when the season started, when the first season debuted, they were broken up, and the breakup was 5 years, and now they're together.
Just no. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do it. I'm not playing. Marielle says
the decorator better be at part 2.
I don't think she is, but I think they're going to talk about it. But I'm just like, so it sounds like an emotional connection with a grown man. We're grown. We are grown. These people are in their 40s. If it's an emotional connection, that means that you're talking to him and he's not into you. Taisha, that means he didn't really like you. Not saying that that's not a problem, because Tamra's acting like it never happened. but he obviously didn't like Ikeisha enough to actually sleep with her, because that's
but I think that at that brunch or the party or whatever that Marie had, that Tambra left, when she was like, "You are delusional and desperate." I feel like that's what the woman came there to say, because she said something about how their relationships with Damon, Greedy, whatever, overlapped. So maybe she's trying to say that it turned into something else, but we never got a chance to see that. So I'm not sure.
We've only heard emotional relationship. And first of all, why are they
right,
an emotional connection? Why are they calling a grown man greedy? And why is Tamara so angry at another woman? Why is she? I mean, she just automatically like went at the other chick. It's weird to me. It's
and
weird.
the line is the whole, this is hurting Tambra, and Tambra's crying at night, and I have to wipe her tears. I'm like, Tambra's going home crying?
He gives me liar vibes, though. I don't believe him. I think that this is who I feel like needed a storyline.
You thought Tambra needed a storyline?
I do. I feel like I like her, but nah, bruh. I feel like this is a storyline. Because even with her, why are you guys working on having a baby? You're not married yet. What is happening? Like, why are we going to the fertility specialist and you guys aren't even
never lived together?
You're not official. What are we doing? Like, I feel like this is storyline. It gives me fake to. I don't buy it. I feel like she convinced him to come on the show, because he didn't seem like he really wanted to come on the show. And even on the show, he seems like he doesn't really want to engage. I don't.
Yeah, he seems very disconnected from it. He seems uncomfortable too.
Yeah, I don't
comfortable.
But we're not gonna be crying and fighting over an emotional connection with a grown ass man. That could be just like you guys were friends.
Named Greedy. Nicknamed Greedy.
Because Leticia kept saying, "Well, he talking to Greedy." I'm like, where
in the streets of Jackson.
In the streets of Jackson.
I can't.
Well, we have to come back. Hopefully, you can come back next Friday and we can wrap this up for this season. You guys, let us know what you think in the comments about Greedy and the emotional connection with Ikeisha. And why is Tambra and Greedy? You guys remember? I just have to say this. They were literally trying to have a baby without having sex. I wanted her to get off.
She said they never had unprotected sex before.
Get off. Get off. Get off. Like, who? What? Even the doctor was like, what? Why are you here?
Like, let's try naturally. You've never even tried. Like, why are we here?
Why are we here, ma'am? And I understand that she's had fibroids and all that, but but I don't believe it. I feel like the order is wrong, and this is the situation I feel like is looking for a storyline, because I feel like really with Tambra there wasn't much storyline before.
Yeah, I agree. It just doesn't make sense. It's not landing. It's not landing properly.
It's not. I'm totally confused. Poor Ikeisha. They got it just the decorator, and then the PR lady that's a model. Bless their hearts.
What PR lady that's a model?
The one that is she's just very tall. She's I cannot think of her name, but Chateau said she lied about that because her parents are watching. If her parents are watching, she's still saying that she had sex with him.
Yeah, she's an adult. Like, what do you mean you lie? How else are you going to have a baby?
Right. I mean, that
actually not with
girl. So you guys, let me know what you think. We're gonna be back. Like I said, hopefully, Brenda, you can join me next Friday we can wrap this up. But this season I think was definitely a lot better. Tyrus Rose says another Phaedra.
Oh yeah, with the when her baby was supposed to be born.
That was classic. That was classic when Phaedra sat at that table
and lied. Just lied. Even Nene said chicks who are from the hood who don't even know who they're pregnant by knows how far along they are. I mean,
exactly. That was real talk. And she's
you see it on paternity court. The girls come on there with the timeline, and they did it on this day, and the window of conception was this day. So 40 weeks later, they know.
They do, and they lie, but they are clear about that. Everybody knows it's a 40.
You better get you a period tracker. They got the app. It tells you when you're fertile, when you're ovulating. You can put in when you were intimate.
Phaedra, but the fact is, Phaedra actually sat at that table and said that to them with a straight face and to the cameras and us. And I have never forgotten. I've never forgiven her for that. Like I'm never
then that she couldn't be trusted.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. And then later, when she convinced Portia to lie about Candy having trying to
rape her, child.
Too much. So yeah, I don't think Tamara's at Phaedra level. But I do feel like Tamara showed us a different side of her this season, and I
didn't like it.
I not like it either.
Yeah, hopefully we get into, because they didn't address it. They did address her saying things behind the scenes about Ikeisha, but they did not address how she bucked up at her.
Yeah.
That intervention, and that was unnecessary and unwarranted. So
it was really weird. It was really weird, but I do feel like she was telling the truth about Ikeisha.
She definitely told the truth about Ikeisha, but she doesn't like Ikeisha.
No, she does not. She does not. She does not. She does not like Ikeisha. And Ikeisha actually did, like you said, she did look like the bigger person for going ahead and having her back. But this storyline we'll see what happens next week, because I want to understand again, at the end of the day, Christal just wants to know what the hell is an emotional connection with a greedy. I just want to know what does that mean? What does that mean?
I need all of my fellow journalists. Maybe I'll do this in my editorial assignments next week. You know how a person, like a friend to the show, will come on the show and it's like, everything we know about so and so. That's the article. I need someone to do an article about everything we know about greedy.
We do. And let's talk about that next week, because first of all, the fact that this man was named Greedy and Leticia was like, she talking about greedy. And so where did that come? We need to know, where does that name come from? And what would an emotional connection with him
look like?
That is our assignment for next week. And then of course we're going to hear about this preteen that Glenn has and how that's going to work in his relationship. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to Brenda. Thank you so much for indulging tonight, right after the show, putting on our reunion looks and joining me. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me. It's always fun with you. You're my fave. So
yes, we have to, like I said, we must come back and do it again next week for part 2 to close out the Belle Collective season 2. I think I like the show. I wasn't 100% sold the first season, but I really like this. I like this season a lot better. I hope that we can see growth like we have with Huntsville. So
I hope that we see growth, but not the growth that Huntsville is doing in this season. I would I don't want it to. I never wanted to get that nasty. So I do want.
I think these ladies are actually nicer towards each other. Huntsville, I'm like, do y'all really like each other? They don't.
They have some deep-rooted issues.
They do not like each other. But I don't feel like this is quite like that. But all right, I appreciate you guys hanging out. It's 11:30 on a Friday night. You guys are some riders for hanging in there with us. And I will see you guys. I will see you all on actually Tuesday for a conversation with Trinika, who left tonight on Ready to Love. So tune in Tuesday at 8. I won't be here on Monday because Monday is my birthday, and so I'm going to
take happy birthday.
Yay, Libra energy. But Tuesday, I'll be right here at 8 o'clock with Trinika. We're gonna talk about that exit, see what happened with that. And then hopefully Brenda and I will be back on Friday to talk more about Belle Collective reunion part 2. Bye guys, have a good night.